The flash that shook Harana de Armas stood just behind the studio gate, holding her phone tightly in both hands. She had arrived early, hoping for a quiet entrance, maybe even a calm moment before another long day of interviews. But quiet wasn't meant for her anymore. Not since the last movie. Not since the world decided to make her face their favorite story. The minute the guard opened the metal gate, flashbulbs exploded. A wall of photographers rushed toward her. Cameras clicked like machine guns. Voices shouted her name again and again, twisting questions into barbed hooks. Anna, is it true you're quitting the film? Anna, what did you do to upset the director? Anna, are you still seeing him? Or is Keanu Reeves more than a friend now? She froze just 2 steps past the gate. Sunlight hit her face, and suddenly it felt too hot. The crowd grew louder, faster. Her hands began to shake, and the phone in her grip slipped to the pavement with a soft, heartbreaking thud. Don't cry. Don't cry, she whispered to herself. A camera zoomed in, catching the tears beginning to form. Anna took a deep breath and tried to move. 1 step, another, but her legs were heavy. Her breath hitched. The press surged closer. Then a black coat stepped into frame. A tall figure walked right between her and the chaos, blocking the flashes with his broad shoulders. Keanu Reeves. He didn't say a word. Not yet. He simply stood there, still firm. A quiet storm in the middle of noise. The shouting paused for a breath. Keanu turned his head slightly, just enough for the press to see the look in his eyes. Calm, clear, not angry, not aggressive. Just deeply, unmistakably protective. He looked straight at the cameras and spoke 3 words. Slowly and without raising his voice. That's enough now. Silence fell like a blanket. Anna's eyes widened. Not because he shouted. He hadn't. Not because he threatened. He never would. It was the way he said it. Quiet, steady, final. It was a wall they couldn't push through. Somewhere in the crowd, a camera lowered. Then another. The spell held for a few seconds. Keanu turned around, knelt, and gently picked up Anna's phone. His hand didn't tremble. He offered it to her without a word. She took it. Her fingers brushed his. Her breath caught. I didn't think you'd come, she said softly. He smiled, just a little. I was already here. Anna looked past him. The reporters had taken a few steps back. Still there, still hungry for a story, but uncertain now. Keanu stood beside her. One hand resting lightly near her back. Not touching, just steady. You ready? He asked. She nodded, even though she wasn't sure. They walked toward the studio. Entrance together. Inside the air was cooler. The noise faded behind thick walls and security glass. Anna leaned against a pillar in the hallway, trying to breathe again. Keanu waited with her, patient, quiet. They were out for blood, she whispered. They usually are, he replied. I'm tired, Keanu. He looked at her, really looked. Then let's make them see you. Not the version they want, but the real you. Anna blinked. How do we do that? By not running, he said, and by not hiding. She looked down. I dropped my voice. Back there? Like I wasn't even in my own skin? You didn't drop anything, Keanu said. You just needed someone to stand still for you until you could find it again. Anna swallowed hard. The first interview was minutes away. She didn't know what they would ask, what they would twist. But she knew one thing now. She wasn't alone in the noise. Outside the room, an assistant knocked. You're on in 5. Anna stood up slowly. She looked in the mirror near the wall. Her eyes were still glassy, but steadier. Walk in with me? She asked. Keanu nodded. They stepped into the studio lights together. This time, the flashes didn't shake her. Not because the world got softer, but because someone chose to stand beside her and say just enough. The question that cut to Depana sat under the sharp lights of the interview set. Her hands rested in her lap, fingers interlocked, though every now and then they twitched. The cameras were already rolling. The host was smiling too much. And Keanu sat just off to the side, silent, calm, watching with quiet attention. She had done hundreds of interviews before, but today felt different. Not because the chair was different, not because the lights were hotter, but because today she wasn't just promoting a movie, she was defending herself. It wasn't said out loud, but it was clear in the way the host leaned forward, in the pauses, in the way the questions circled before they struck. You and Keanu, the host said, tilting his head slightly. You're very close, people are wondering. Is there more to it? Anna kept her expression gentle, unfazed. We've worked together, yes. He's a friend. A kind one. A kind one, the host repeated, smiling wider. So, you're saying nothing romantic? Anna looked toward Keanu for half a second, just enough to draw the cameras in his direction. He didn't flinch. He simply watched, steady as stone. No, Anna said softly. Nothing romantic, just someone who's been there when I needed it. The host nodded, pretending to move on. Fair enough. Let's talk about the rumors then. Na's jaw tightened. A few directors have described you as difficult, he continued. One even said you were emotional on set. How do you respond to that? Her breath caught. That word emotional wasn't just a word, it was a weapon. She remembered the moment they shouted at her last year, on a different set, different film. She had fought back tears when a co-star raised his voice, and they said later she wasn't strong enough. They called it drama. Never mind the bruising words. Never mind how she stayed to finish the scene. Anna opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Keanu sat forward in his chair off stage. Not enough to interrupt, but enough for her to see him. His eyes didn't waver. She closed her eyes for a second, breathed. I feel deeply, she said. That's true. It's why I act the way I do. Yes, sometimes I cry, but not because I'm weak, because I care. The host shifted, a little uncomfortable. Anna leaned forward, voice still calm. I've never walked off a set. I've never thrown a tantrum. But if someone calls me emotional for having a heart, then maybe they should look at the roles there. Writing double quotes silence, Keanu didn't move. But his eyes held something new now, pride. The host chuckled awkwardly and changed the subject. Okay, let's lighten it up. Your fans say you and Keanu are like soul twins. What do you say to that? Anna smiled for real this time. Say he brings peace into noisy rooms. The interview ended 10 minutes later. Anna walked off set slowly. She felt like she had just run a marathon inside her chest. Keanu was waiting, by the hallway wall, arms folded, eyes soft. How bad was it? She asked. Truthful, he said. She leaned against the wall and looked up at the ceiling. They wanted cracks. They got strength instead. Anna looked at him. I hate this part of the job. Keanu nodded. Then we'll face it together. Do you really mean that? She asked. He gave a small shrug. You're not a story to me, Anna. You're a person. She felt her throat tighten. That's rare. He smiled gently. Maybe, but not impossible. They didn't talk much the rest of the afternoon, but she noticed he walked with her to every checkpoint, every photo call, every backstage moment. And when one reporter tried to shout another question, something cruel, something sharp, Keanu stepped in again. Not loudly, not with anger, just with the weight of someone who refused to let kindness get trampled. And for that day, at least Anna didn't have to fight alone. Behind the locked door shut behind her with a soft click. Anna leaned against it and slid down to the floor, her back pressed against the wood. Her eyes burned, and she didn't fight it this time. She let the tears fall. Not loud, not heavy. Just slow, tired tears. It's the kind that come when you're done pretending you're fine. The hotel suite was silent. Too silent. It's just her and four white walls, and the echoes of the interview playing in her mind on repeat. Emotional. Difficult. Romantic. Words like tiny paper cuts, easy to ignore at first, but they pile up. Her phone buzzed on the table. It's probably a message from her manager or her team, or maybe another publicist asking if she'd seen what people were tweeting. She didn't move to check it. Instead, she curled up her knees and rested her head on them. She whispered to herself, over and over, You're strong. You're strong. Don't let them change you. Time. And by the fifth, it was only a whisper. On the other side of the city, Keanu sat in his car, engine off, fingers resting on the wheel. He hadn't heard from Anna since the interview. Not unusual. She needed time sometimes. She kept her heart guarded, even from herself. But something felt different today. He replayed her answers in his mind. The way her voice trembled when she talked about being misunderstood. The way she looked at him like she wasn't sure she had the right to feel tired. He made a decision. When Anna heard the knock at her door, she didn't answer right away. Another knock. Then silence. She stood up slowly, wiped her eyes, and opened. Yet Keanu stood there, holding nothing, saying nothing. He just looked at her. Not in shock, not in pity, but like he had expected this. Like he understood. "You didn't text," he said softly. Anna stepped aside and let him in without a word. The suite was quiet again, but it felt less cold now. Keanu walked in, took off his coat, and sat on the floor beside the coffee table like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked gently. Anna stood frozen for a moment, then slowly sat beside him. She didn't talk at first. Not about the interview, not about the questions, not about the headlines. Instead, she said, "When I was little, I used to climb onto the roof of our house. We didn't have much, but the roof was mine. No one could bother me there." Keanu listened. "I'd sit there for hours," she continued. "I'd close my eyes and imagine I was someone else, someone brave, someone who wasn't scared of what people said." She paused. "Sometimes I still pretend." Keanu nodded once. "Me too." Anna looked at him. "What do you pretend?" she asked. He looked ahead, voice low. "That the noise doesn't bother me, that I've figured everything out, and I'm always calm." She leaned her head back against the wall. "But you are calm, only outside," he said. "Inside. I've had storms too." Anna turned toward him slowly. "What helped?" Keanu gave her a long, thoughtful look. "Someone sat beside me," he said, "and didn't try to fix it, just stayed." Anna didn't reply. She just reached over and placed her hand lightly on his dot. A small gesture. But it felt like something real. Something steady. They sat in silence for a long time. Then she whispered, "I want to disappear sometimes." "You don't have to," Keanu said. "You just need space to breathe. But the world doesn't give you that." He nodded. "Then we'll make it." Anna's eyes filled again, but this time they weren't from pain. "Not fully." "Do you really mean that?" she asked. "I wouldn't be here if I didn't." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something small, a smooth, round stone. "I keep this in my jacket," he said. "When things get too loud, I hold it. It reminds me that some things are still solid, still real." Anna took it gently and held it in both hands. It was warm. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to say anything," Keanu replied. "You just have to know you're not alone." They sat like that until the city lights blinked on outside the window. No cameras, no scripts, no questions, just two people. Bruised by the world, reminding each other that kindness can still exist in silence. The night they turned at the city sparkled that evening as the car pulled up to the Grand Theater entrance. Cameras already lined the red carpet. Voices buzzed beyond the velvet ropes. Tonight was the charity gala, supposed to be warm, generous, kind. But Anna had learned not to trust the tone of an event. Some smiles came with daggers behind them. She sat in the back seat, hands resting in her lap, trying to breathe in through her nose and out through her mouth, just like Keanu taught her. "You don't have to do this," Keanu said from beside her, watching her reflection in the tinted window. Anna nodded. "But I want to." He didn't try to stop her. He just placed one hand lightly on hers. That was enough. Outside, as they stepped out of the car, the flashes started again. Photographers shouting names, pushing forward, each one hungry for a reaction, a crack, something raw. Anna kept her chin high, her eyes soft. Keanu stayed close, never crowding, just present, solid. At first it went well. A few polite questions, compliments on her dress, soft laughter from other actors nearby. Then a reporter shouted something from the back of the crowd, something cruel. "Anna, were you crying again today? Or are the tears just part of your brand now?" The crowd shifted. Some chuckled. Others waited. Anna froze. She didn't expect the words to hit so hard. Shh. Her throat tightened. The smile on her face faded before she could stop it. Keanu heard it too. His body tensed, and his eyes locked onto the reporter. But he didn't move yet. The same reporter stepped forward, holding his phone like it was a weapon. Tell us, Anna, do you ever act without emotion, or is crying your only skill? Someone nearby laughed. That was when Anna's hand shook. Keanu stepped forward, not fast. Not angry, just calm. Like a wave coming in slowly, powerfully, he stood between Anna and the man. His body blocked the phone. His voice was quiet but carried with weight. Enough, Keanu said. The man smirked. Just a question, Keanu. Public deserves answers, no, Keanu said again. What the public deserves is respect. The smirk faded slightly. Keanu turned, not toward the reporter, but toward the crowd. Toward the sea of flashing lights and hungry stares. You see someone shining, he said softly, and you want to break them down so you feel taller. But she stands here anyway, do you? The crowd shifted again. Quiet now. Anna's eyes were wide. She hadn't expected him to speak. Not like that. Keanu turned slightly to her, just enough for only she could hear. You can walk away, he whispered. Or we can walk through this. Your call. She took a deep breath, and she stepped forward. Ask me something kind, Anna said, her voice soft but steady. Or don't ask me anything at all, no one replied. The same reporter lowered his phone. He wasn't smiling now. Anna nodded once, then walked down the carpet with Keanu beside her. And suddenly the flashes changed. They weren't hunting now, they were just watching. For the rest of the night, Anna stayed near Keanu, but she didn't lean on him. She stood on her own feet, her eyes bright, her smile real. Inside the gala, they sat together at a quiet table. String music played gently in the background. Why did you say that? Anna asked later. Because it was time, he said. And because some people need to be reminded who they're talking to. She smiled slow and deep. You didn't say 3 words this time, he chuckled. True, but they still listened. He looked at her steady. No, they listened to you. She felt something in her chest shift. Not pain, not fear. Something lighter, and for the first time in weeks, she danced. Not for cameras, not for fans, yet, but for herself. Keanu watched from the side of the room, his eyes calm, hands folded, and when she turned toward him with her hand outstretched, he took it without hesitation. They danced like 2 people who had survived a storm, quietly, gently, proud. The letter that reopened everything. The morning sun slid quietly through the curtains. Anna sat cross-legged on the hotel bed, sipping her coffee slowly, hoping for a peaceful start. The gala from the night before still lingered in her chest like a soft echo. Keanu's words, the stillness of the dance. The moment she had felt whole again, even if just for a few minutes. Her phone vibrated, not with a call, not with a text. A message from the front desk, Miss Anna. A letter was left for you by courier. It's marked personal. Anna's brows pulled together. A letter. No one sent letters anymore. 20 minutes later, she held it in her hands. No return address. Just her name. Handwritten. The kind of writing that looked unsure. Like whoever held the pen wasn't used to saying what they felt. She hesitated. Something in her gut twisted, but she opened it anyway. The first line made her heart drop. I saw your interview. I thought maybe now you'd understand. She didn't recognize the handwriting, but the words. They were from a name she hadn't heard in years. Mariana, her half-sister. The one who had cut her off after Anna moved to Los Angeles. The one who said she had forgotten her roots and left the family behind. Anna kept reading. Hands shook. You always said you wanted to act because you had something to feel. I didn't get it then. But when I saw you in that chair, telling the world you cry because you care, I believed you. A sob caught in her throat, sudden and sharp. I was jealous, the letter continued. You were brave enough to chase the life you wanted. Oh. I stayed angry. But now I see you, not as a star, as my sister. And I'm sorry for all the years I stayed silent. Anna pressed her hand against her mouth, tears slipping past her fingers. At the bottom of the letter, just 2 lines remained. If you want to talk, I'll pick up. Oh, if you don't, I'll understand. She folded the paper carefully and held it to her chest for a long time. She sat there, quiet and still. Then she reached for her phone. Keanu was on set when he got the message. Not a call, just a simple text. Anna, can you come by later? I got a letter. His fingers hovered over the screen. Then he replied, Keanu, of course. That evening, he knocked gently at her door. Anna opened it with red-rimmed eyes and a folded paper in her hand. From your past, he asked. She nodded and stepped back to let him in. She didn't talk right away, just handed him the letter and sat on the couch, watching him read. When he finished, he placed the paper gently on the table. He didn't say much, didn't have to. Instead, he sat down beside her and waited. I thought she hated me, Anna whispered, for years. Maybe she hated what she thought you became, Keanu said. But now she sees you. Anna looked at him. What do I do? What do you want to do? I want to call her, but I'm scared. Then be scared, Keanu said softly. But call anyway. Anna picked up her phone. Her finger hovered over the number she never deleted, but never dared to dial. Keanu placed a hand lightly on her shoulder, and she pressed the call button. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then a voice. Hello. Anna froze. Mariana. Silence. Then a sharp inhale from the other side. Anna? Both women were quiet. Anna swallowed hard. I got your letter. A breath. I meant every word. Tears spilled again, but this time Anna didn't wipe them away. Can we start again? She asked. Please, her sister replied. They spoke for 30 minutes. Slowly, carefully, like people tiptoeing across a cracked bridge. But step by step they reached each other. When the call ended, Anna stared at the ceiling for a while. Then she turned to Keanu. I feel like something that was broken is beginning to fit again. He nodded. Some cracks let the light in. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you for being here, she said. Always. But even as they sat in peace, storm waited quietly outside their calm. A new headline had just hit the internet. Photos of Keanu standing between Anna and the reporter had gone viral, and one tabloid had twisted it into a lie. Anna needs Keanu to survive the press. Is she falling apart? She hadn't seen it yet, but the world was about to ask the wrong question. And Keanu. He wasn't going to stay silent this time. The speech that silenced the room toward night was never supposed to be about her. Anna sat at table 7. Near the back of the ballroom, dressed in silver silk that shimmered softly under the lights. Her hair was pulled gently back, her earrings barely moved as she turned her head. It was meant to be a quiet evening, a celebration for others. But the whispers had already started. Phones buzzed with headlines.
Ow.
Tweets flew faster than servers carrying champagne. Screens showed her face beside. Twisted words. Anna can't handle the heat. Keanu saves her again. Too fragile for Hollywood. She could feel the weight of it pressing down like water slowly rising in a locked room. Keanu sat beside her. He noticed the tension in her shoulders. He leaned in quietly. If you want to leave, say the word. Anna looked at him. They'll write something cruel either way. He nodded. Then let's give them something true instead. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm tired of being a headline. Keanu's gaze didn't move from her face. Then it's time. They heard your name with truth behind it. The host's voice boomed through the ballroom. Tonight, before we move into the final category, we are honored to welcome a special guest presenter. A man who needs no introduction, Keanu Reeves. Anna turned to him in surprise. He hadn't told her he was speaking tonight. Keanu stood, buttoned his jacket, and walked slowly to the stage. The lights hit him with sharp focus. The applause was respectful, warm, but it didn't shake. The air, he reached the microphone, paused, looked over the crowd, and then he began. I was supposed To present an award tonight, he said. But I'm going to do something else first. The room stilled. Keanu's single quotes is steady, soft, but it filled every corner of the hall. I want to talk about someone sitting in this room. Someone who's been dragged across headlines, misquoted, misunderstood, and picked apart for being exactly what this industry pretends to celebrate: vulnerable, honest, human. A few people looked at Anna now. Keanu continued, her name is Ana de Armas. And if you've read the headlines this week, you've probably heard a version of her. The crying actress. The fragile one. The woman who needed someone to protect her, but you didn't hear the real story. Ana's hands trembled under the table. You didn't see her show up to sets after sleepless nights. You didn't see her fight back with grace when someone tried to humiliate her. You didn't hear her voice when she spoke, not to defend her image, but to defend the truth about how deeply she feels. The room was silent now, not a shuffle, not a whisper. Keanu looked straight into the camera lenses that broadcast the night. To the world, she is not weak. She is not a story you get to shape. She is a soul who has survived storms with quiet strength. And if standing beside her makes me a shield, I'll wear that role with pride. Ana's breath caught, and then he said the words again, the three that had stopped. The chaos the first time, but this time slower, firmer, and into the microphone for millions to hear. That's enough now. The audience didn't know whether to clap or stay quiet, until someone in the back stood, then another, and then the whole room rose to their feet. Keanu didn't bow. He didn't smile. He simply stepped off the stage, walked back to table 7, and sat beside Anna like nothing had happened. She turned to him, eyes full, heart wide open. You didn't have to do that, she whispered. I did, he said, and I'd do it again. She smiled, tears slipping down, but not from pain this time. They were from something else, a kind of healing, a kind of peace. For the rest of the night, the whispers stopped. No more cruel questions, no more headlines. Without heart, just a quiet respect that settled over the room. The next morning, the internet was flooded again, but not with gossip. With clips of Keanu's speech, with stories about kindness, with photos of Anna smiling, not because someone told her to, but because she finally felt safe. One tweet went viral. Keanu didn't defend Anna because she was broken. He stood beside her because she wasn't. Anna didn't reply to it. She didn't have to. Instead, she posted one photo, her holding Keanu's. Small, smooth stone in her hand, captioned simply, "Still real."